AOC isn't just trying to pressure Biden, as well as others involved in the reconciliation infrastructure bill negotiations, to make that a better bill. She's also trying to remind everyone, hey, Biden's also the president and can, in theory, do things other than talk to Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. She was asked on her Instagram account, do you think student loan payments will return in a few months? That's obviously something people are very worried about. Basically, the halt that we have right now is only gonna last a little bit longer. And she says that given how much Build Back Better, the reconciliation bill has been slashed, it's more important than ever that we bring the heat on Biden to cancel student loans. He doesn't need Manchin's permission for that, which I love that as a little dig against Biden, thinking that he needs Manchin's permission for things. And now that his agenda is thinly sliced, he needs to step up his executive action game and show his commitment to deliver for people. And I am very glad that she is talking about that. You do have to balance a lot of different concerns. And I think this is one of the best things that we can focus on to pressure Biden, not just because of the huge amount of potential there is to help people out, but also Biden desperately needs to reassure people who voted for him, who organized for him, who volunteered for him and donated money to his campaign, that got him into office, that he's actually gonna do something. And this is entirely within his own power. He can't hide behind Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema or Mitch McConnell or any of them. He could do it right now if he wants to. We could come back from the next break to the breaking news that he did it, and he is not doing that. And so while we can criticize him on a lot of things, I think he is especially deserving of criticism for the things he chooses not to do that he could do anytime he wants to. Francesca, what do you think?
Yeah, it's completely in his control to eliminate student debt and would solidify his reelection from here until I don't know when. If he wants to keep on running, keep on going. Just like, seriously, it is the best way to ensure that a young group of voters who've been disillusioned and disenchanted by your entire presidency thus far, maybe people wanted Bernie Sanders to be president, will vote for you again. Like, that is not an exaggeration to say that politically, it is a very smart move, not only just policy and morally that there's no reason why college should cost as much and people are being strapped with debt. It'd be a huge boost to the economy, but not only, it just like would be ensure that you will be reelected. Stop with the hand wringing, just do it.
Yeah, or certainly help, and not just because I think people rightly they will be happy that this happened rather than looking forward to the rest of their life, effectively 30 or 40 years spent paying for these things, but also it will send an indisputable signal to the electorate that he's actually gonna do things. And look, honestly, in a way, it would almost make it good that there are those in his party that are trying to block things, because it provides an opportunity for him to say, I'm not going to allow any of these obstacles to stop me.
Yeah.
Like, if it was up to me, we wouldn't have a filibuster. Unfortunately, it's not directly up to me. Now, that setting aside the fact that, of course, he could pressure the senators who are stopping it from being changed. But he could say, okay, legislation's really hard to do because the Republicans won't allow anything. I'm gonna make sure that you know that. I'm gonna make sure that the American people know that they've been stopping things. And even where they're not, you have people like Manchin and Sinema. I'm gonna make sure that you know what they're doing, but I'm also going to deliver in whatever way is required with the power that I have. That's what the Republicans do when they want to get something done. There's not much that they actually want to get done, and not any of it affects the working poor. But he could do that. He has this opportunity, and instead he is just meeting with Manchin, having phone calls with Sinema, and allowing more and more days to pass in the only possible productive time of his presidency. If they lose their hold on the Senate and the House, then there will literally be nothing done, up to and including Supreme Court judges, by the way. They will not get one if they lose control. If they lost control in a week, they wouldn't. And they are almost guaranteeing that is what is going to happen if they don't deliver. He needs to send a signal, and he's choosing not to. And honestly, if he did it, and if Manchin and Sinema freaked out, if the Republicans freaked out about it, good. Have them spending their time on Fox News telling tons of conservatives with student loan debt that they should be burdened by that debt. Have that be what the Republicans have to campaign on going into the midterms. So there's just so much upside. And the fact that he's not doing it is damning against him.
Yes, I mean, obviously, like, let's give them credit. They would never talk about that. They wouldn't even mention it if it happened. They'd be like, yeah, this happened anyway.
Free stuff. They love to talk about how he's giving free stuff to people.
No, absolutely. And yeah, they would bring on they would bring on me, who got like a degree in, women's studies and globalization, and be like, look at her, what is she doing? She's got a YouTube channel, what do you haven't put it to use? Like that kind of thing, which would be honestly a great sell against college in and of itself, because they are against college and universities and higher education, because that leads to an understanding of democracy and plurality and history. There's always that, and that's bad. But yeah, I mean, look, this is also, I think, after the Build Back Better Act, which again has not passed. We don't know if it will pass, but it's still not a legacy in terms of what Biden aimed to do in office. And it's a question, right? Like, did he want to just be the guy who wasn't Trump? Because that's sort of what made him run in the first place. He thinks he's the only one who can win. And look, he won. And is that end of story? Are we sort of wrapping it up? But then he had this whole other piece, which was, yes, I'm going to take on the mantle of sort of the Bernie Sanders transformative government. Like, I want to be, an FDR style president. I want to be someone who's going to actually help the working class. I want to potentially get back to like Democrats' roots. And that was sort of that second piece, and maybe that was bolstered by, trying to appeal to Bernie Sanders' base. But so far we haven't seen that, and we just haven't seen leadership. Like, yes, the vaccine rollout, and I don't want to ignore or downplay how important it is to vaccinate people, to get people healthy, to help people live normal lives. That's huge. Do they celebrate that they've done that enough? In my opinion, not nearly. But let's move on to something that like we can all agree on, since vaccines are controversial, right? It seems like he doesn't actually have a legacy other than, I got us out of the Trump years and I got us out of COVID, which again, not the worst things, but what are you gonna do to propel people to actually vote for you again, to have a vision for your party that honestly has none?
Yeah, exactly. And he either sees that and isn't acting on it, or he doesn't see it, and neither of those are good.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.